Hi all, welcome to another video on Kash channel. My name is Ratnakishore. So in this video, I will show you 3 different ways of reading a list from the user in Python. Let's start the topic. In the first case, I am reading a list of strings using the list's append method. So this particular thing involves 3 steps. In the first step, we need to get the size of the list. And in the step 2, we need to take an empty list. In step 3, we need to use a for loop to read each string into the list by using the list's append method. So according to the step 1, we need to get the size of the list first. For that, I am using the input function. Since input function returns that number as a string, we need to convert that into an integer. For that, I am using int function. Now we get the size of the list into a variable n. As step 2, we need to take the empty list. For that, I am using the empty list mylist1. Now in step 3, we need to use a for loop to read each string into the list by using the append method. For that, I am running a for loop. To run that for loop for n number of times to read n strings into the list. Here in each iteration, I will act as an index. In the first iteration, I will take the index 0. In the second iteration, I will take the index 1, like that. It will take total n number of indices from 0 to n minus 1. Now in this for loop, I am using append method with mylist1. This append method appends the value that I am going to take from the user as a string at the end of the mylist1. Then as input argument for this append method, I am using the input function which will take a string from the user. After for loop gets terminated, I am displaying the mylist1. Now I am running this cell. Then it is asking the size of the list. I am entering 4 as the size of the list. Then it is asking to enter the string element 1 into that list. Then I am entering Ramu as a string. It is asking the second element to the list. I am entering Rani as the string. Then third element Somu. And fourth element Raju. Then I got the list with all the 4 strings. So in this way, we can use the append method of the list to get the inputs into that list from the user. Now I am going to explain about the second way of getting the list from the user. Here we are using the split method, which is associated with the string object. So in this case, we have 2 steps. In the first step, we need to read space separated strings from the user. After that, we need to use a split method associated with a string to split all the space separated strings as a list of strings. Let me write the code for it. Since in the first step we need to read space separated strings as a single string, one input function is enough as it reads the user input as a string. Then I am using mylist2 as a variable here. And then I am using the input function with a prompt, enter space separated strings. After getting all these space separated strings as a single string by using the input function, we need to use the split method associated with a string. For that split method, the delimiter is a space. By default, split method accepts the delimiter as a space. No need to mention any delimiter. Then step 2 is completed. Then we need to display the contents present in that mylist2, which will be the list of all the strings entered by space separation. Then I am using the print function. And then I am running the cell. Then it is asking the space separated strings. Then I am entering Raju space Ramu space Somu space Rani. If I press enter, then I got all those space separated strings as a list of strings into the mylist2. So this is the second way of getting list of strings from the user. Here no need to get the size of the list beforehand, because we are using the split method. Automatically those space separated strings will be converted as list of strings. So in the previous two cases we have seen how to read list of strings from the user. Now I am going to consider how to read list of numbers from the user. For that we have two methods. The first method is by using list comprehension. Second method is by using a built-in function map. We will see one by one. Now I am considering the list comprehension to read the list of numbers. It involves three steps. The first step is we need to read the space separated strings from the user as a single string. We need to use the split method to split the space separated strings into a list of strings. Since we have strings in that list, we need to convert those strings into numbers now, because we are going to read numbers. For that I am using a list comprehension to get a new list by converting each string present in that list as a number. Now I am writing the code for it. Now I am using a variable strings underscore list, and then I am getting space separated strings from the user by using the input function. So in the second step I need to use a split method to get the list of strings. Then I am using a split method by using the default delimiter space. So with this single statement, two steps we have completed. Now we need to use a list comprehension to convert each string present in that strings list into a number. Then I am considering a variable mylist3 to hold that resultant list of integers. Then I am using the list comprehension. Then here I am using the built-in function int to convert that string to integer. Then I am using int of x as expression, and then for x in strings list. So this list comprehension will consider each string present in that strings list into a variable x, and that will be converted as integer by using this int function. Then we will get a final list of integers into mylist3. Then I am going to display that. Then I am running this cell. It is asking the space separated strings. Now we need to enter the numbers. Since I have considered int function, those numbers are nothing but integers. If you want to get floating point values in the list comprehension, instead of using int function, use float function. Then you can enter float values. Then I am entering integers as list of strings with space separation. Then I am entering 10, space 20, space 30, space 40, space 50. I am pressing enter. Then I got list of integers into mylist3. This is the method 1 by using the list comprehension. We can get the same list of numbers, in our case integers, by using the built-in function map also. For that we need to perform 4 steps. The first 2 steps are as it is. We need to read the space separated strings by using the input function. After that we need to use a split method to get those space separated strings as a list of strings. And then we need to use a map function to map the list with input function to get the integers from the strings. Since the map function generates a map object, we need to convert that map object into a list. Here I can do all these 4 steps by using a single statement. Now see how I can do that. I am using mylist4 to hold the list of integers. Then I am using the input function to get the list of strings as a single string from the user. So I am using a prompt enter space separated numbers. So in the second step I need to split those strings into the list of strings. Then I am using the split method. Step 2 is completed. And then I need to use a map function to get a map object. For that I am using the map function here, map. So we need to convert those strings into integers. For that in the map function I am using built-in function int. That is the first argument for the map function. Here the second argument is nothing but list of strings. Then I am closing this map function with a closed parenthesis. Step 3 is completed. I have used a map function to get a map object by converting each string from that list of strings as an integer, where I have used int built-in function. In step 4, I need to convert that map object into a list. For that, I am using another built-in function, list. For that list function, I am providing this map object as the input. Finally, I will get a list of integers into my list 4. Then I am displaying my list 4. And then I am running this cell. Then it is asking enter space separated numbers. Then I am entering the numbers 100, 200, 300. If I press enter, then I got list of integers 100, 200, 300 into my list 4. So in that way I can use these 3 ways to get a list from the user. In the first 2 cases, I have considered the list of strings. In the third case, I have considered the list of numbers. So that's all guys. This is the end of this video. I will meet you with a new video soon. Bye.